I'm back. I've been gone for.
You can just on the show Wednesday.
No, on a Saturday show. Okay, so be cool. Be cool. I was gone.
Welcome
You
back.
know what? I was gone. I was in the Olympics. I went to Zurich, Switzerland. I went to Vienna, Austria. And then I was in Paris. I'm going to tell you where, you know what? This is Detroit in black and white. We had McShane from Michigan and Trumbull. We got Allan Lengel from Deadline, Detroit. We got Vanessa Moss. Hi, Vanessa.
Good morning. Good morning.
And we got Jim Nardone. How you doing, Jim?
Good morning. Doing great.
Listen, I was away, and you know, you read online comments talking about I'm not watching the Olympics no more. It ain't the same and shit. No, it ain't the same, because what I saw at the Olympics, I saw Black people representing folks in Asia, in Iceland, and Sweden, and all these other countries. And I saw Asians representing countries that,
Including the U.S.
no question. And then I saw a young white boy from countries in Africa and stuff, in Ghana, and won a gold medal. I said, you know what? So this is truly an event that's for everybody. Was
that moving for you to see all the?
When you saw folks speaking German, that when I went, me and my wife, we flew from Switzerland, and we was going to Austria. We on Baltic Air. There was a Asian woman at the airline speaking fluent German. She told us we had too much luggage. We might have to pay, like whatever she was talking about. But you know what? We didn't have to pay. But you see all this stuff. And listen, the world is it's small. Ain't no place.
So did you enjoy your vacation?
Yes, I did. And we saw people, families all over the place. And France is, you know what, I've been to Paris before. Yeah. You know, it's a nasty little city. But they did their thing.
Why do you say nasty city?
Because it's dirty.
Yeah.
You know, no question. And people can talk about Detroit and all the other places. It's all the same all over the world.
Yeah.
There's
people
no
are
question.
people, right?
People begging for money, people doing all kind of stuff. But you know, people was friendly, and you know, we enjoyed ourselves. So.
You watched the breakdancing competition?
No, we went to the table tennis.
Uh-huh.
The Chinese, they some bad mothers. They know how to play it. And the French got some good folks too. And we went to the women's basketball. I tell you, I had a great time.
My regret is I did not see the final game with the men's basketball. I would have loved to.
I don't care about the men's basketball. I like the women. And we went to the Eiffel Tower, saw all the folks. They were doing all their things. And listen, so I enjoyed it. So it's a once in a lifetime situation. In Switzerland, I didn't think they had no people of color there, but there's a whole lot of them. And then in Austria, you know, in Vienna, you learn a lot about the history of stuff. They got churches there that been there for 500 years. It made me think of Perfection Church. They still building it. 20 years. Yeah, listen, what it's going to be 40 years from now? But anyway, let's go to what's the outrage of the week? Can I start the outrage?
You want it? We have a video.
Go ahead.
The very last one. See the handcuff.
A field trip to 36 District Court downtown Detroit this week turned into a scared straight simulation. A judge ordering a 16-year-old girl into jail clothes and handcuffs.
You're not fazed by this at all, are you?
Judge Kenneth King directing his questions to a 16-year-old girl who fell asleep twice in his courtroom, and when she woke, it was allegedly with an attitude, laughing and mocking.
So why are you being disrespectful to this court? Yes, ma'am. You sleep at home in your bed, not in court. And quite frankly, I don't like your attitude.
You can see at this point she's in jail clothes and handcuffs.
Listen, he put her in a room for 2 hours. Fuck you, Judge Kenny King. Fuck you. She went on a field trip. A fucking field trip. And she went to sleep. Listen, I know, the judge has to deal with a lot of criminals every day. A lot of people.
A lot of people facing
right.
allegations.
There's no question about it. And you're the defense attorney. But to put a young lady in handcuffs, put her in a jail uniform because she disrespected your court. Do we have any kids?
He does. He has 2 sons. Listen.
How did he treat his fucking sons? Because they woke up. These kids, even if you thought she was asleep because she stayed up half of the night playing video games, but this girl didn't even have a bed. I saw her mama on TV. And I'm a hard ass. That made me sick to my stomach. And the way you dogged her out and then put her in a room for 2 hours. Where was the adults there? Because if I was there, he would have had to put me in a fucking jumpsuit too. Because I would have said, you asshole, this is a kid and you don't do that. She wasn't forced to go there as a scared straight kid. This was volunteer. This was a volunteer. They volunteered to go there.
Well, I think clearly it was misjudgment, and he's
misjudgment.
Well, I'm saying he's been taken off the docket. His class has been taken away from Wayne State. I think the regretful thing is that he doesn't admit that he's wrong. He's still.
You have people support him saying that this young girl should be in boot camp and all that. Fuck y'all. If that was your daughter or your son and they did that too, you wouldn't be saying that.
So here's the rub. So I think that you have to look at his intentions. What's his intention?
He ain't got no intentions. Fuck his intentions.
He said that he was intending to, teach her some lessons.
He ain't taught her nothing but put her in some fucking handcuffs and put on a jumpsuit.
Well,
that ain't no intention.
Listen,
that's no intention.
Listen, but are you angry, conflict angry because of what he did that day? Should he just?
I'm angry. I'm angry because I saw her mama. I saw her mama feel helpless, couldn't do shit. She cried like a fucking baby and said, listen, she was helpless. Nobody helped her. She said, this girl is an A student. She went to school. This was volunteer. And this asshole sat up there. Yeah, I could raise your hand if this girl should be in jail. Fuck you, Kenny King.
So here's the deal. I do think as a judge that you should have empathy. And you know what? Sometimes people misjudge, and judges do misjudge. But I think this is where the public has to look at the people that they stand before, the people that they hold in high regard. Okay, and judges are people that people hold in high regard. I think this is a case where I'm sure he's contrite. He didn't expect to get all this blowback. As a matter of fact, I think I read where he said the media is blowing this up.
No, they not.
But I think that a lot of times that we, as people, we get in our communities, we live in a bubble, right? And we don't recognize that people come from everywhere. People have all types of things going on. For instance, when he indicated, you sleep at home in your bed.
He didn't
The
know.
problem with that is you don't know whether or not she was unhoused or not. The other problem with that is, listen, she's there on a field trip with her contemporaries. Maybe she didn't want them to know that she didn't have a house or bed to sleep in. That's embarrassing. There are people who view this as a bullying tactic. And sometimes when people put on the robe, and I'm not saying that Ken is one of them, but sometimes when people put on the robe, they forget that the very people that stand before you are the very people that you get your paycheck from. These are taxpayers, right? So you need to treat everyone with dignity and respect. You need to treat everyone with compassion. That I thought was a bit extreme. It just as not a bit, it was very extreme, to be honest with you. It was very extreme. But listening to him saying, listen, I was just trying to teach her a lesson.
Ain't no
I
lesson in
believe
that.
that he really believed. You get what I'm saying?
He
I
full-
believe that he
he
really
full-
believed that that's what he was doing.
Delusional.
Not realizing.
Delusional.
Right.
Jim,
Not
you,
realizing
Jim, you,
not realizing that that's not the way to do it. You understand? You guys understand
Jim,
what I'm
Jim, Jim.
I'm not trying to.
Let's
justify
go
the
to the
behavior.
police chief. If you got a class, you got a school coming to visit. You was the police chief at Trenton, and you put a kid in a fucking handcuff there because they sash you or they went to sleep while you was touring the fucking facility.
Actually, we had a jail facility at the police building site. We
Okay.
redid it.
You need to talk about this.
And we redid the jail.
Uh-huh.
But we were not allowed to put juveniles anywhere near that. We were not allowed to give them a tour. We weren't even allowed, their state law to prevent that. I'm not here to represent the judge, but I will say this. I was in a narcotics unit. I was in a federal narcotics unit, a DEA unit for a short time, a year and a half. There is no place on earth like the 36th District Court. I will tell people that it is chaotic. It's busy. It's
the people's court. It's the largest court, the district court in the state of Michigan.
And it's unbelievable how hard some of those judges and those people work in that court.
Right.
I will say we need good people in that court, but it has become an assembly line.
It's always
And
been.
people-
It's always
and
been.
I guess
And
probably
people-
right.
and
In
people
my
don't-
experience, 30 years.
Yeah, and people, but one of the things that I say is that people, when they go to court, they want to make sure that their voice is being heard, not that they're on a conveyor belt. Like you go to the grocery store, just put this
Right.
item on there, the second item, so on and so forth. But we also have to realize that they have a docket that they have to get through the docket. They have state guidelines, how long you can keep the case, when you're supposed to have the case heard. I mean, they have all these things. One of the things I think about is the mental health care insurance and how people complain about how the insurance companies run it, your health, that sort of is what happens in the court system. Okay, you have deadlines that you have to meet.
So why would you throw a 15-year-old
He
girl?
said because he thought
He's full of shit. He's full of shit. Fuck Kenny King. He's full of
I'm
shit.
going to say when we talk
He's
about
full of shit.
an assembly line, though, I mean, it's like the doctor's office. We all want the attention. It's us. But they're running you through it in and out and stuff like that. That's what we see in court. But I'm going to say, and let me explain something. When I'm not defending Kenny King in any way for what he did, but I think where the guy is coming from, he's been sitting on that court probably too long. He's so frustrated. seeing probably.
Don't take it out on this
I'm
young
saying-
lady.
I'm
Do
saying.
not take. I saw the face of her mama. Listen, I'm a hard ass.
Yeah.
No,
Listen, and this
you're
woman,
not a hard
this
ass.
woman, yes, I am. Listen, I couldn't
sensitive
give
dude.
a. Kenny King fucked up. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna
Okay,
come back
come
and
back to the-
continue
make a
to
comment.
talk about the fuck up that Kenny King did.
And
Judge
then we
Kenny
all,
King.
I got an outrage.
Neighborhood beautification. That's very important to Detroit. It's very important to block clubs, organizations, and people who live in the community. We got started with 2 lots and a vision of a treehouse center. Because if we can take these blighted lots, Detroit give us grants to be able to do something with them that the community wants, it's a plus because we're bringing our neighborhoods back to where we want them to be, where they should be. All because I live in Detroit.
In the heart of Detroit, Bruce Simpson. Our city ombudsman and his team are dedicated to making your voice heard. The City of Detroit Ombudsman is a liaison between the City of Detroit and all persons who have a complaint or inquiry into the operation of a city department or the conduct of a city employee. The Ombudsman works as an independent oversight to provide individuals with an opportunity of giving a confidential avenue to address complaints. You can reach the Ombudsman's office at 313-224-6000 or email us at ombudsmandetroitmi.gov. You can also visit us at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. For more information, go to www.detroitmi.gov and type in Ombudsman. We are here to help. In Detroit, we are all one team. When you win, we all win.
Well, the little girl didn't win when she went to the court, 36th District Court, and then you find yourself in fucking handcuffs. But before I get back, I'll go to you, Vanessa, then
I
Allan.
don't have an outrage. I think Jim wanted to say something.
Well, but the bottom line is when you send your kid somewhere and they got to deal with a real asshole. He was a real asshole. Yeah.
Let me say this though. I will say this. I think
He's
that,
a
like
real
I said, you know, everybody have bad days. Everybody have a misjudgment. I think that was a missed call on his part. But you know, the focus is on this young lady. She's 16 years old.
15.
15, 16.
15.
You know, she had some circumstances that he wasn't aware of. It doesn't matter to me whether she was 16 or 26. If you're a guest there in the courthouse, right, and you're sitting there and you're sleeping, there was a way that could have been handled.
She could have been
And
on medication.
That way, exactly. She could have been on medication. It could have been anything. Listen, why don't you take her out in the hallway? Just go out in the hallway. There should have been more chaperones there. I don't know how many chaperones.
They were there and they didn't do shit.
Unfortunately,
They didn't do nothing.
Unfortunately, the
They
police
left.
become mental health experts and have to deal with mental health issues. And sometimes the judges have to deal with that. And I'm not sure that.
So he executed her.
Well, I'm not
He
sure
executed
that we indict a man or
Yes,
wreck his
you
whole
do.
career for one little.
He
It was a bad
indicted
decision,
her.
but
He
we've all made
indicted
poor
her.
decisions.
And he wrecked her life. There ain't no question about it.
I just want to say,
And then at the end, I stand by what I do. Fuck you.
well, I think that's some of the arrogance there, but I'm going to say it. I'm not, again, let me clarify. I'm not defending what he did, but I think it's
Yes,
maybe.
you are.
Let me explain something. Let me say something. Let me say something. That he, maybe it's a sign that he's been on the bench too long. I think I've talked to him many times. He's very frustrated about the crime situation, and he's trying, and he sees the same guys. He sees the recidivism, and he's frustrated. So,
She's not a criminal.
Well, let me explain.
She's not a criminal.
Let me explain that. Then he stopped distinguishing between who really needs to be disciplined and who doesn't, and he just groups everyone together. And I think maybe he needs a break from the bench.
Well,
That's
he's
my-
getting a break.
Okay. Should he be kicked off the bench? Should he be kicked off
Look,
the bench? That's the question.
I'm not an advocate of kicking somebody off the bench
Okay.
for that one infraction. Now, if there's any other things that have taken place,
He got
then
some other
what
fractions,
happens is people make a complaint with the Judicial Tenure Commission. They decide whether or not they're going to do anything about it, has a whole hearing and that kind of thing. But I think what the chief judge did at 36th District Court was like, hey, take some time off and you get some training. That it said what kind of training it is.
Ain't
Wayne
no
State
training.
University
You can't
got-
train. You can't train.
You said
You
you can't
can't
train
train.
somebody
You
to
can't
be
teach it.
compassionate?
You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
So here's in risk management. If you study risk management, there's typically, whether it's a Titanic or September 11th, there's a series of incidents that people miss, and it sounds like maybe this judge has had another incident or two in the last month or two that maybe should have been addressed. Maybe somebody should have sat him down. Vanessa, have you know of any incidents that he's had? Did he have an incident maybe with a patient, a mental health patient, or?
Yeah, he did. He did. He did. He
You may
did.
not want to talk about that, or do you?
Yeah, how do you know?
It was in the newspaper. My point is, there's always
What
a
was in the
series of
newspaper? Let me tell you
incidents.
what was in the newspaper? Because I didn't see that.
Something about him dressing down somebody out the way they were dressed when they showed
Oh,
up in the court.
I
Are you
had
aware
a
of that?
yeah.
And the guy came because he wanted to be there, and he wasn't dressed right. And listen. Somebody, a teacher, told me that kids that show up at school and they don't look right or whatever, said you got to have some compassion for them, because if they fought their way to get to school, you got to help them.
But let's go back
You
to
don't
30
think
years ago.
With
30
this-
years ago, you didn't appear in court the way people appear in court.
And that's exactly. So that's where I want to go. So I had a case where my client had some mental health issues, and he was in the hospital, and he made his way, even though he was not the doctor, was against doctor's orders, but he wanted to take care of his business. He actually came to court. Now, was he dressed appropriately? No, he was not. And here's the rub. They lost his clothing. So the hospital gave him some clothing that was there, which was a white t-shirt, some joggers, and some tennis shoes. And, there are quite a few judges who say that, listen, you need to come to court dressed appropriately. And so he was not dressed appropriately, and he dressed him. He made him put on a shirt with the Wayne County Jail. But my client's case ended up being dismissed, thank God. And thank God that my client is getting the help that he wants and the help that he needs. But that was a case of you need to be much more compassionate and empathetic. Listen, how we used to dress back in the day is not how we dress now. People don't. I read an article in the paper today about a young lady who was disinvited to an interview because they said that she wasn't dressed. She wasn't dressed.
She looked a mess.
But
She looked a mess.
A lot of them don't
She
know
looked
that.
a mess.
I look at my own sons. They dress completely differently than how we used to dress to go to events. We used to have to dress up to go to the movie, dress up everywhere. People don't have that. And what people think is their best, what they think is their best, may not be their best. So this is what I've seen across different courtrooms. There are some judges who recognize that, and what they have is a closet. They have shirts, they have jackets, they have dresses for people to put those clothes on right there in the courtroom. Hey, go over there and get a jacket. Judge Deborah Thomas is one of those judges that do that. Judge Shannon Walker is one of those judges that do that. So there are judges that recognize that people may not have the money or even have, and I'm not going to say sense, their sense of what is appropriate is not what your sense of what is appropriate. And so I think that is important, that you have to recognize that, and you have to recognize 36th District Court is in the city of Detroit. You have a lot of people who don't have money to buy those kind of things.
But they can buy tennis shoes.
One quick question.
They can buy tennis shoes.
You know what?
You know,
I said I said if you
Yeah.
look at films in the 50s and 60s of Tiger Stadium, There's people with suits and ties on. It's a whole. I mean, look, the blue jean generation came.
But
and
then
everything.
I look at the 50, the Tiger Stadium, but then my grandfather couldn't even go there. So
Maybe
fuck
somebody
them.
said something because you know those hearings are on YouTube, and I know that people are commenting because I never said anything.
Listen.
Are you telling me your grandfather-
Listen, I know. I mean, not a bad guy,
No, he's a cool guy.
but he fucked up. He fucked up. He fucked up. He fucked up. And this girl is never gonna be the same. She come from a situation, and you know what? When you don't have a place to sleep and all this shit, you don't know what these people going through. And you know, if a mama was a crackhead or whatever, a mama was that woman was broken and saying, how they treat my daughter. She doing the right thing. She get good grades. She volunteered to be in this program and shit. And then she go there and she leave in handcuffs in a fucking jail uniform. He put her. Now what was really worse, he put her in a room for 2 hours by her fucking self. And the girl's smart enough to say, they got cameras in here. Because I really didn't want to take my clothes off because somebody's looking at me. And you know what? And where was the fucking grown-ups there? Because I would have said, you can't do that shit. Lengel, you know when we were in junior high, when they said, did this experiment and said, you know what?
That would be shocking.
Yes. Who was the only two people that said we ain't doing that shit?
We would have
You and me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't doing that shit. I'm not torturing nobody. Shit.
Well,
You know, and that's what he did.
Well,
Go ahead.
I think that has been and will be a teachable moment for Judge King. I think that I really believe because I do know him. I believe
If he's burnt out, leave.
Listen,
If he's burnt out,
that's
leave.
easy to say.
Step down. No, it ain't easy
That's
to
easy
say.
to say.
No, it ain't. I don't like people losing their jobs.
Right.
But leave if you can't distinguish between who's a fucking criminal, who's a fucking teenager.
Well, I think they've taken the court has taken the appropriate action.
Yeah. Only after it goes viral all over the world.
No. Let me see.
That only after it goes viral. So they wouldn't have did shit.
So,
But
Terry made a comment about the judge shouldn't lose his job, but maybe
I agree.
should behave a little better. I kind of agree.
yeah,
with that.
right.
But
Right.
I have a question for Vanessa. Quick question. And you know, I know a couple of judges, and it seems like in the since COVID, the level of disrespect for the office of judge has kind of deteriorated. Did you find that to be true? Because
not just the judges. I mean, also for the attorneys, the level of disrespect has gone through the roof. It is really unfortunate because the judge is there to be like an umpire, make sure everything goes the way they should go. And so the disrespect is at an all-time high. And even for attorney, it is very difficult to navigate, especially like with me. I do retain cases. I also accept appointments. And I think that's something else that I want to talk about.
Well, but
People who cannot afford to retain counsel. What happens is they get court-appointed counsel. What I do is when I talk to my clients, I tell them, listen, I accepted the appointment to represent you. I think from the bench, there needs to be a different narrative because people already feel down about the fact that I couldn't hire an attorney. And they already have this.
What about the brother that had the court-appointed attorney and he got found not guilty?
He accepted the appointment. Yes, he accepted the appointment to represent him. I do not like the term court appointed because I've seen many clients the look on their face and the disposition that they have when they meet you is completely different. When I say, listen, I'm attorney Vanessa Moss, I accepted the appointment to represent you. They said, oh, okay, as opposed to
we're gonna
it's a whole different. And I think it should come from the bench.
Okay, we're gonna take a break and we're gonna not continue this conversation because we can talk about it forever.
Yeah, speak.
We can talk forever, but we're gonna go and talk about the guy that's in the head of Allan.
I've got other.
Okay.
We're
Again,
still on
we'll
8 outside.
go to the outrage.
It's an hour
We'll be
outrage.
back.
1 hour outrage.
We'll be back. This is Detroit in Black and White. I'm Adolph Mongo, Allan, Lengel, Jim Nardone, and Vanessa Moss. Fuck you, Kenny King.
Neighborhood beautification. That's very important to Detroit. It's very important to block clubs, organizations, and people who live in the community. We got started with 2 lots and a vision of a treehouse center. Because if we can take these blighted lots, Detroit give us grants to be able to do something with them that the community wants, it's a plus because we're bringing our neighborhoods back to where we want them to be, where they should be. All because I live in Detroit.
In the heart of Detroit, Bruce Simpson. Our city ombudsman and his team are dedicated to making your voice heard. The City of Detroit Ombudsman is a liaison between the City of Detroit and all persons who have a complaint or inquiry into the operation of a city department or the conduct of a city employee. The Ombudsman works as an independent oversight to provide individuals with an opportunity of giving a confidential avenue to address complaints. You can reach the Ombudsman's office at 313-224-6000 or email us at ombudsmandetroitmi.gov. You can also visit us at the Coleman A. Young Municipal Center. For more information, go to www.detroitmi.gov and type in Ombudsman. We are here to help. In Detroit, we are all one team. When you win, we all win.
Okay, we're back in Detroit in Black and White here at McShane. There's a lot of stuff happening here today. We got the damn soccer. I watched all that shit in the Olympics. Couldn't care less about the soccer, but you know what? It's popular.
I want to say something about what Vanessa was saying about the attorneys. Look, there are a ton of attorneys who are on a list for appointments in the courts. Some of them are much better than, well, they're the attorneys that do those courts. They're good attorneys. The federal defender's office, I don't know so much about the public defender's office in the state courts, but the federal defenders are tops. They are better. I've covered trials where the federal defenders are much better than the high paid attorneys and stuff. So I agree with you that there's a certain connotation there. Oh, court appointed, right. But you know, like you say, in the Sam Wall case, that attorney did a phenomenal job.
He was a hell of an attorney.
I'd get that attorney if I got charged in the city. I'd be happy with him.
But ain't no question. Let's.
But I have an outrage.
Let's go to the outrage.
And it's an interesting.
We'll start with you, Vanessa, and Jim.
And you can give me feedback on this. It's interesting. I mean, I've been in the city for quite a while now, and my father had a bar in the city.
He's been here for about 2 years.
Yeah, no.
Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, I've worked in the city most of my life, or a good part of it, except when I was in DC. But anyways, on Monday, I was walking I have a work share space with Wayne State. It was about 1:15. I'm walking out Woodward.
In the morning or at
1:15 in the afternoon. I'm walking to the work share space. I'm walking down Woodward. There's a bus shelter there. There's about 7 people in the bus shelter. They all know each other. They're all laughing and they're joking around. And then they sort of pile out into the sidewalk and they're joking around. And I have to sort of navigate my way through it. I'm a big guy, and I'm used to these people don't fuck with me. But as I'm walking by, I mean, I'm literally about this far from one of the guys, and he screams at the top of his lungs, "How you doing, sir?" And I'm like, holy shit. I'm a little weirded out by it, and I keep walking. And then I'm walking about a block down, and then I hear again, there's a guy behind me. So, hey, sir. And I turn around, it's one of those guys, and I turn around, he just starts laughing, and he goes back. And I really, and I thought, okay, is it because I'm getting old? Am I older? I look more vulnerable. Is it because I'm white? That they can, and I was like, I was.
Were they black people?
Yeah. And I was, I was frustrated because like nothing I could really do. It was like, I was a little startled. Like, why are they? I felt like I was being bullied. I felt like it was in high school, like where you see like a nerdy kid and everyone, the bullies are getting on them. I felt like they were bullying me and messing with me, and there was nothing I could do. I mean, I was grateful nothing more.
I deal with that all the time. I'm downtown, and the same guy, he's on a bike. I walk downtown. He says the same shit to everybody.
Yeah.
And you know what? Listen, the bottom line is you just keep walking.
Right. That's what I did.
You know
But
what?
keep walking, but you also have to be careful because you never
Right.
know what's on somebody's mind. I mean, I personally have situations. This person is bullying me, harassing me, threatening me, but we're gonna take care of it. But that's unfortunate. Read about this.
I put it on Facebook. I wrote Todd, who's a good buddy of mine, who's a retired homicide cop. I told him about it, and he wrote a thing about crime.
What was he gonna do? Assassinate the guy?
No. But he was just saying that he said he's got a sister in the city,
I know.
and he says my sister's afraid, and she's in a good neighborhood. He goes, my sister's afraid to go on the porch. People have been robbed sitting on their porches. He's got grandkids in the city.
Can I tell you this? Listen, I was in Switzerland in a shopping area. They got a big ass sign up there say "Beware of pickpockets." It's all over the place. People are committing crimes all over the world. So just Detroit.
For me, I was like, I felt kind of bullied. I was like, wow,
Why would you feel bullied? I wouldn't feel bullied. I would feel that let me be careful. It ain't about bullying. I don't want to be a part of the crime. A bully wants you to be scared of them where you won't even come back.
Look, there's 5 guys. I'm not gonna take on one.
5 guys in the
you
burger,
can do it,
right?
5 guys, but I'm like, I felt angry too. I had this fantasy of being like Kung Fu Man and going back and say, "Excuse me, what did you say?"
They'll get you a weapon.
But I just kept walking, and somebody says you should get a gun. I don't want to get a gun. It's like
I asked you, Jim, the other day when you told the guy to go fuck off. I said, did you have your piece on you? What'd you tell me?
I did not.
You don't carry a gun.
I did not carry a gun. I retired.
Why you don't carry a gun?
One reason. One, it's not my responsibility anymore. Number 2, if you shoot somebody, you're going to be in court for 5 years, and it's going to cost you. You don't save your whole life to give your money away in a court.
Right.
So back to Allan for just a second. Ira Todd wrote an open letter that's in Deadline Detroit, and if you haven't read it, if you're watching today, you should read that letter. What a
Great letter.
It really is. And I had one experience with Ira Todd years ago, and he's a great guy, and he cares about his community. We need more people like Ira Todd out there that are looking at. He is not. When I just said my responsibility is not my responsibility, guys like Ira Todd, he still feels responsible for the citizens in Detroit, and that's an admirable position. And he's a great guy. Back to what my outrage. I'm not going to do an outrage because Terry said that the judges are defending the what do they call them, crooked cops or dishonest cops or whatever. And I will tell you this, Terry, there are some judges that are biased towards the police. But to suggest that there's really that many dishonest cops, I know there are dishonest cops. There it is, criminal cops, and there's criminals from all walks of life, and there are some dishonest cops out there. But I would suggest that the judges that go to law school and get elected to a judgeship, they are not going to put their judgeship on the line for a crooked or dishonest cop.
Go
All
ahead.
a few. So I'm going to talk about my outrage, and mine's going to be a little different. It has something to do with the Olympics. Shannon Biles, Simone Biles' mother. She's on this circuit, as far as I'm concerned, talking about how she would like to have a relationship with her daughter. She is on, in hard times. She's works
junkie.
sometimes as a cashier. And basically, her daughter does not want to, it appears that from her view, her daughter does not want a relationship with her. She says that she's in recovery, that she's doing well, etc. I don't know. My outrage is that the way that you get to your daughter? But to me, embarrassing her, talking about her, this girl is highly
But
decorated.
somebody paying, but somebody throwing her a couple dollars. This is what the media do. This is what the media does.
I don't like it.
But you know what? She gotta eat, and it's just like Meghan Markle daddy, who and her sister. They sell their stories to these publications
But you know what?
because they want attention. Shit.
Just like she has to eat. I don't disagree with you, but there's other ways of
She
eating.
fucked up.
But listen,
She gave her
Did
kids
she?
away. Her daddy took them, and her daddy did a hell of a job. The daddy and the mother. So she need to just go and say, okay, get your life together, but don't come there, because somebody reached out to her and said that, what do you think of your daughter
that's
and
my
stuff?
outrage. Why are they
Because they doing
whoever
it.
is doing that
It's-
to her and putting Simone
Because
out there
it's
like
a
that? I
fact.
don't like that.
Like
I don't
Allan,
like
See
it.
that?
I don't like it at all.
So the lady on the panel is sensible. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching,
We-
Terry. Thanks for
we-
watching.
Well, we not sensible. I'm not sensible. Ain't no question about it. Listen, somebody paid Simone Biles,
And just
Bird's mama,
and you know
somebody.
what? Just
She's a
because that was-
junkie. She's full of shit, and she need to just go
So
and
we
walk
gotta
away.
listen.
She's full of shit.
Listen,
She gave her kids up. She left them in foster care. She fucked up. You know what? Simone
say
Biles
this.
might be when Simone Biles get to be 40 or 50 years old. She might want to reach out.
She
to
may.
her
And
mom.
that's where I was getting ready to go with that.
She
Listen,
might want to do
as a daughter,
Don't
of
put it
someone
out
that
on
was-
Front Street.
Listen, as a daughter of someone who was a recovering alcoholic, I could have easily been one of those kids that was in the foster care system, but not because my grandparents picked up the slack. I understand holding that, listen, I don't want to have nothing to do with you. I don't like you.
Leave
I don't like
Simone
what you've
Biles
done, that kind of thing.
Leave
But
her
guess
alone.
what?
Leave her alone.
That parent went into recovery, did well with the rest of his life, and guess what? Later on in life, I regretted the fact that I did not reconcile with that parent. And I talk about him all the time. That was my dad.
Okay.
So-
Well, but you know what?
You don't.
But you don't play it out in the media.
That's my
You don't.
point.
You
That's
don't
my.
play.
That's
You don't.
my
You don't
point.
play it out in the media.
That's
But the
my
media.
point.
But the media is a story. We come from the world of journalism, Allan. It's a story. People
Good
pay.
morning, Hazel
People.
Park.
People pay. National Enquirer pay. All these
Tell
publications
people no.
pay. It's like I
If
go.
your daughter means that much to you, tell them no.
Listen.
If
I-
your daughter
Wait
if
a
your
minute.
daughters, because
Barack Obama,
has-
his older brother, got mad at him, and then he stood up there and says, "I'm with Donald Trump." You know what? That's what they do. This is what family
I'm not
members
saying
do.
that they don't do
You
it.
might have a
It's
cousin
wrong.
that say, Jim, Jim ain't the man. It's
Jim,
like,
you the man.
time went. I served under him. He ain't shit. When Jim was the police chief in Trenton, he wasn't the best police chief. I can tell you that. That's what people do.
Well, people that know more information about you, you typically look at you a little differently than
Right.
people that don't.
Right.
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 And
They
I
might
ain't
be
mad,
right.
and I ain't mad at Simone Biles' mama because she had. But wait a minute. But she had issues. She gave them away, put them in whatever she did to them. Leave her alone. Leave Simone Biles alone. That's all.
That's not awful.
But she getting paid.
If you're out there watching, let us know. I'm getting a report that the sound is not that good. It's any of our viewers. Is there any issues out there?
Okay. Can we, all right.
Okay, take a break.
All right, let's take a break.
Okay, so what's happening?
Neighborhood beautification. That's very important to Detroit. It's very important to block clubs, organizations, and people who live in the community. We got started with 2 lots and a vision of a treehouse center. Because if we can take these blighted lots, Detroit give us grants to be able to do something with them that the community wants, it's a plus because we're bringing our neighborhoods back to where we want them to be, where they should be. All because I live in Detroit.
But I usually people don't fuck with me.
Okay, we're back. Okay, well, I don't get it.
Listen,
I don't care about Allan Lengel.
as we get older,
I don't care about Allan Lengel. He's a senior citizen.
We need a GoFundMe to send Adolph back to Europe.
No more vacation.
Finish his vacation.
More vacation.
Right.
Karen says something. So Karen, I hope I see you about all today, Karen.
Oh, yeah, so
But I was telling Allan that as we get older, we do become a vulnerable population, and people will try to intimidate you and bully you. So I'm not going to invalidate how he felt. He was walking down the street, minding his own business, his own Allan Lengel business, and those guys did that with the intention, I believe,
No bullying.
to
Yeah.
Intimidation.
They were
you
laughing.
should have turned around, Allan.
It's like
You should have turned around and say, "Don't Lengel me."
But you see that these little video clips on Facebook sometimes where the bully,
When they hit you,
where the bully,
knock you out.
they're bullying a kid, and then finally somebody comes to the rescue and beats them all up, and it's like, you have that fantasy. It's like I felt like a kid. I felt like and helpless, but it's a vulnerable situation as you get older.
We're gonna have to talk about that. Let's go and let's talk about how the ex-president Donald Trump run his campaign against the vice president. Do you think? I'll go to you, Vanessa, you young lady on the panel. They keep calling her dumb, stupid, not qualified,
Not
all
cool,
that.
not
You know,
cool,
it's
not
not the
cool.
way to win a race.
No, it's not. And it's offensive as a woman. And anybody that's supporting that kind of rhetoric, I'm looking at you real crooked. I saw something, was it yesterday, day before yesterday, that a congresswoman was on a panel with
From South Carolina.
and kept mispronouncing her name on purpose.
All right.
On purpose. Now, listen, you get one time to do that, right? But after what, you're doing it on purpose. And it's so disrespectful because ma'am, if somebody did that to you, or somebody didn't call you by your title, congresswoman, whatever her name is, you will be upset.
Right.
So right, but as a woman, I don't think that's cool. She is smart. Listen, she not only has a law degree, she was the prosecutor, the AG.
But if you're gonna run against somebody, run against her agenda, her record, etc. Hey, you know what? When you sit up there and say she's stupid, the dumbest, and all this shit,
But that tells you
that's
what
ridiculous.
That's not going to play in this election.
Right.
That will not
That
play.
tells you what is right. I think no, not at all. So
People are fed up with it, and I think it's hurting him. And I think that if he continues to make it personal, he will not win this election.
He is, speaking of bully, he's trying to bully her and denigrate her in a way like a high school kid would do, or a junior high kid. I mean, I think the Americans are kind of getting tired of his shtick. I mean, it's an old, tired, like it's old, tired bullshit. And I think people are getting tired. It's like people want to hear about the issues as well. Sure, you can you can jostle and attack somebody's character a little bit, but it's not, we want to hear.
I sat up here when she first got elected and said, what did she do? I hit the ass. I can, you know what? And I looked at her record when she was attorney general in California, or she was a prosecutor. Now I could run against her and don't have to denigrate her when saying, hey, she's not black, she's not Indian, she's not this. And you know what? The bottom line is that's not the way to go. And I don't like Trump. But if I was, but if I was a consultant telling him, I said, the other day you went and said that people that got the Congressional Medal of Honor wasn't shit. Basically, they had to get shot or they died. And then you was a draft dodger. Your daddy was a draft dodger. Your grandfather left Germany because he didn't want to serve in the military. All you assholes. But the bottom line is, anybody that put on a uniform, I don't care, J.D. Vance, Tom Wynn, and all these folks, I don't care. They might embellish shit and say shit, but they served our country. You didn't, bitch.
I would say, what I thought was interesting is that he had a press conference to talk about rising inflation and rising prices. He had it. He should have kept talking about it. He had it at a country club, and he's talking about Cheerios, and then he talks about. He says, he goes, yeah, the jobs that are being taken these days. He goes, all of them are being taken by illegal immigrants. And he said, wait a minute. He says 100% of those jobs are being filled by illegal immigrants. And they said, you know what? Might even be more than 100%. And I was like, I mean, I find it comical, but it's like, get your shit together. I think he's ADD, so I think he has a hard time consuming facts, reading and stuff. So he wings it, and he just talks shit.
Is he gonna take the Republican Party down, Jim?
Well, I think we're due for a reset, not only in the Republican Party, but also in the Democratic Party. Regardless of what happened in this election, the Democratic Party cannot continue on the way they're on, and absolutely the Republican Party needs. They both need to moderate. If they don't moderate,
I'll say this: I think first the Democrats are going to do a huge favor to the Republicans by beating Trump, because Trump is a cancer for that party. I think in terms of resetting. I think there's a lot of mainstream Republicans who want back into the party.
Why don't they step up and
but they haven't been able to. And I'd say for the Democrats, they suddenly have a bench. The question is, I don't know what their policies are going to be, but they do have some promising candidates. I mean, the Republicans that Liz Cheney is potential. Some other, look, Peter Meyer was a very moderate. I mean, if there was going to be a good solid Republican in there, but he was too mainstream. And, the Republican Party, this has been happening for 15 years now. It's getting narrower and narrower. If you're liberal, if you're moderate, they keep pushing out, and the moderates become, the right wing becomes the moderates. And they need to open the umbrella a little bit more.
So to your point, if one of the viewers, and I agree with them, if you would ask the question about the president and how he's running his campaign, attack her as the border czar, since immigration.
She was never the border czar.
Well, I'm just saying, if that's what you're going to do. Also talk about the foreign policy experience that you have and that she doesn't have. Attack that way. Don't attack with persons. I'm sorry, it's not.
But when you say she slept her way to the top, all that shit, you know what? That is unbelievable.
DEI.
Yeah. What's a D fucking I? We got Laura, what's her name?
Right.
Laura Boebert.
This bitch dropped out of high school, had a baby at 15 or 16, got elected to Congress.
Somebody said that the former president was having a senior moment where he talked about how he was on a helicopter with Willie Brown.
And he was.
And he made it up. He made up stuff that Willie Brown said stuff.
He said he was going to sue the the New York Times for putting out false information.
Right.
I was on a helicopter.
He was with somebody else.
He was with somebody else.
And
And then they do this interview.
20 years different too on a different
Exactly.
flight.
So I mean,
Stories
if you want
get
to do,
confused. I'm making excuses,
I'm not
but you know,
saying
things
they do,
happen in your life.
I get confused.
that's true.
I get confused.
Stories get confused.
Kenny
But if
King
you
got
want to-
confused.
If you're going to be the king of talking about people being confused and people having diminished mental capacity, right? Then what's good for if you good enough to dish it out? Yes,
You can take it.
you're gonna have to take
What is
because
it?
when they
What,
start talking about that,
what did G. Robinson say?
You're gonna have to
Go ahead and play it. This is Donald Trump.
You can dish it out, but you got so that you can't take it no more.
You can ditch it out, but you can't take it. Oh, we're gonna final thought, Allan Lengel.
I'm going to the Tiger game today against the Yankees.
Why?
First play.
Why?
Joe
Why?
LaPointe, a friend has tickets.
Who fucking Joe LaPointe? Didn't he used to write for the Frequent
He wrote
and the
for
New York
New York
Times?
Times. Joe is a big baseball
Why is he
fan.
still here?
He came back. His
Oh, okay.
wife's family's from here. So,
Okay.
so I'm going to the
Okay,
baseball
Joe
game. The
LaPointe.
Yankees are in first place. The Tigers are,
In last place.
they're not quite in last because the White Sox are so bad.
Don't
They're
matter. They
close.
still in
They
last.
should be in last.
And they need to move the franchise.
What time is the game? What time is the game?
1:15.
1:15.
Okay. Final thoughts.
So final thoughts is, as everybody that watch the show regularly know that I am running, there's a movement actually. There's a movement for me to be on the bench at 36th District Court. Listen, this is a Herculean task. I need a whole lot of people to write my name in. And I was told this morning, hey, you're not going to do it unless you run the right movement. And so that is what I am doing. Today, there's a fundraiser. It's our second fundraiser. It's at Belle Isle, near the Detroit Yacht Club. There's a, what do you call that thing? A shelter. And so there's a barbecue. I'm asking people to come out. The ambassadors will be there. I will be there. We'll be there all day. Vanessa Moss, Vanessa, Moss, Moss. Remember that name. You will be hearing a lot more in the next couple of weeks as the season continues to heat up. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a message for Sean Payne. We're losing jobs all over the city here. It's Stellantis, Trent Engine, laid off their 20,000 engines laying in the factory. 2,500 people at Stellantis and Warren are losing their jobs. And I know you're attacking the former president. Let's get back to protecting the jobs of these American workers instead of being too political. And the same with the Teamsters president. You didn't need to be speaking at the Republican convention. Let's focus on protecting these jobs.
Okay.
Amen.
Listen, I want to thank Allan Lengel, Vanessa Moss, Jim Nardone, Teresa. Thank you very much. She's the brains behind all this chaotic equipment that we present every week.
Thank our viewers. Because
Should we?
yeah, they come.
Should we?
Absolutely.
Should we?
Yes, we should.
Should we?
Invite them down here, Vanessa. Some of them disagree, some agree.
Should we?
Invite them down. Come sit and talk.
Sit down and talk about this because they have. Listen, the purpose of this is for us to have conversations. It's called Detroit Black and White. Look at it this way or look at it that way. We invited all. You don't have to agree with this guy. I don't most of the time. That's what makes it fun. So thank you guys.
Yes, Jesus loves me.
That's right.
Yes, Jesus loves me. Yeah, right. Well, anyway, we'll be back next week. Detroit is Black and White. I'll be in Chicago this week reporting for the convention. I'm going to see all.
Are you going?
Yes,
Yeah,
I am.
What are you going to have in the background when you report on Wednesday night? The United Center or
Well, you know what? I want to say. You know, Trump named a transition team. Ain't that kind of premature? You know, he's a real. There's some real idiots.
Maybe it's a
Ain't no
transition
question.
team to another life.
Yeah, right. Hi, I'm from the Secret Service, Allan. You can't say that. But anyway, we'll be back next week.
Bye.